Joining me now, I have Pieter Kooyman, who is founder and CEO of Half Moon Studios. Pieter, fantastic to have you, and thank you so much for joining me in the studio.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Now, I did a little bit of research before you, on you, as I do with all our guests, and I kind of wanted to know, so you have this really seasoned history. You've been at Miniclip, obviously. You're at Tesco too, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
What inspired you to start Half Moon Studios? What sort of challenges did you face in the beginning stages?
Yeah. A couple of good reasons, probably some bad ones.
Right.
Too.
I want to hear it all.
I was at Miniclip for 13 years and I had the incredible privilege to work with founders there.
Wow.
The main one, of course, Rob Small, co-founder of Miniclip. I worked for him for many, many years. But over the time with Miniclip, we ended up acquiring a huge number of companies, 13 companies in my time. And what it did was to show me what life is potentially like on the other side.
Right.
And what that did for me is it created an itch. An itch that I had to scratch. As soon as I left Miniclip, I took some time off and I started thinking, hey, what's next? But that itch remained very much unscratched to start my own business. And don't forget, I was at Miniclip. When I joined, we were 17 people. When I left, we were 850 people. So it was an amazing journey through which I learned a huge amount, helped scale the business, and had a wonderful and amazing time. But what I hadn't done is I hadn't done 0 to 1. I'd seen it happen around me. And so after I came to the end of a short sabbatical, I really did think, hey, what's the best next thing to do? I could join another large company, take another senior role there, or if I really want to continue learning, the best thing to do is to start my own gig, which is what I subsequently did. Interesting.
And, that is so fascinating. And I was saying you were there, Miniclip, in its heyday, 2008. Like, I remember playing it and playing all these fantastic games. What were the sort of challenges that you faced, though, in starting Half Moon Studios? I mean, you have this itch, you've scratched the itch, you've created this company. What were the problems that you faced in sort of, past conceptualization? Just, maybe it was a day-to-day kind of stuff. What were the issues?
Yeah, the amazing thing is when you're working for a large company, at Miniclip, we had an amazing finance team, an amazing legal team, great product teams, fantastic facilities teams. And the thing that you do as those teams is that everyone makes their own decisions. They are the right decision makers for their subject specialism area. And I think out of all of the challenges that I faced as a founder, as a solo founder, was the sheer volume of decision making that you have to make. And I think it took me a good year. At a Miniclip, you've got a product officer that makes a decision, or a product manager that makes a decision. And it took me a good year to get comfortable in the shoes as a founder to know, actually, Pete, everything is on you.
That's a skill in itself, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Being a founder is a job,
right?
And that was it took me 12 months to kind of find my feet. Yeah. So the sheer decision making volume was by far the biggest challenge that I faced in my journey as a solo founder.
Interesting. That makes sense. I mean, you guys at Half Moon Studios, you've shifted your focus to a streamer first multiplayer games that you're making. So what drove this transition? Can you tell me a little bit about that journey? And, why did you make this transition?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Of course, what we're doing is we're in the business, in this industry, business of making games. But above all, I think we're in the business of changing habits. And don't get me wrong, user acquisition is a great way to get new people to come and play your game. But the key thing that we started finding was, or asking ourselves, is what if there's a different way of getting new users to come and play games? And the solution that we've come up with is that we've built a game, which is a 2D, exciting, ball racing parkour game that can be played with as many as 256 people at the same time.
Wow.
And rather than focus on UA only, what we're doing is we are working with streamers, whereby the streamer acts as the initial marketing, the FTUE, and the re-engagement to bring people into the game. So it's relatively simple. The streamer starts playing the game. The streamer says, hey, my room code is 5566. People then download the app. It's a very quick download. And then they instantly join their favorite streamer in that game.
Interesting.
And what we are finding, and by the way, at the moment, this is still our thesis. We're building on that. I am one of the streamers. We have 50% of the studio that are continuing to prove out this thesis. This first game that we've built is called Ball Guys, Stumble and Fall. And it's only 5 months old. So we need a bit of time for the product to mature. But what we're already finding is that when a streamer plays the game with someone on a Monday, and then they play again on a Tuesday, by Wednesday and Thursday, what it is that we've done is we've changed a habit. And again, don't get me wrong, UA is super important for mobile gaming studios. It's not as fun as it used to be. It's not as cheap as it used to be.
Yeah.
But we are finding that streamers and streaming is a really interesting way to get lots of players at the same time to download and engage and to create those habits.
Interesting stuff. Now, I need to ask you this question because you guys are doing something so interesting here. AI obviously remains a sort of key part of your work. And I think I read somewhere, I think it might have been on your LinkedIn, where you said you're hoping to create the work output that 30 people would create with just 6 people. That's a big feat. I mean, in what ways does Half Moon Studios employ AI?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Half Moon Studios was incorporated in the same month as ChatGPT first Model 3 came out. Wow. So do you remember when it exploded?
Yes, I do.
That was the month in which I incorporated the business.
What a time.
We didn't properly get going in terms of the team 4 months later, but nevertheless, it was a really founding moment. And what it allowed me to do, having come from a really large organization, Miniclip, what became a really large organization, to then spend some time, well, hold on. Everything is going to change. And what can I do? What can I think about? What can I consider in terms of organizational principles to make sure that we're making the most of that wave and that we are ready when it comes to the future of the organization? And it sounded really wishy-washy back in the day, but I really remember very actively taking my time to think, well, hold on, what do we need if all of these AI tools are going to be helping us and increasing our relative productivity? And one of the principles that we've stuck to very much and is incredibly powerful and does allow us to operate as a larger team than the 6 people that we are is the principle of multiple hats. And everyone in the organization has an ability to do not 1, not 2, but 3 different things. And some people are learning a 4th using these AI tools. And I'll give you an example. Jamie is our data analyst, who is also a data engineer, and recently, with AI tools, should be considered as a full stack developer. So he's able to wear multiple hats, which for an organization, a startup in particular, is wonderful. For Jamie, it's super interesting because it means that he's got a huge variety of different things that he can engage in and learn. And and considering how much we've done, last year we had a massive prototype on TikTok Live, which reached 3 million MAU organically out of nowhere. We now have Ball Guys as our second prototype and our second story and wave of the studio. We have been proving out that AI and AI tools can accelerate a studio and turn a 6-person studio into a 20-person studio.
Right. And I love that it's not about, I mean, you've proven in the case of Half Moon Studios, it's not about replacing humans, but it's sort of AI to aid the sort of human effort of developing games and that sort of thing at Half Moon Studios. So, Pieter, thank you so much for such a fascinating chat. I feel inspired having talked to you. But thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Amazing. My pleasure.